Welcome back to the farm. My name's Roz, also known as Passion Flower, and you'll find me here each week talking about my farming and creative life. This week we ticked off another job of something we needed to do around the shed. We had put up a temporary fence where the brick entrance was so that the animals who were grazing in the stockyard, the cows and the horses, didn't come down in to where our veggie patches were, and also right up to where my sliding doors are, so I could open them up and have fresh air come through, dry my yarn and not have any unwanted visitors coming into the shed. So we just had some star pickets and some white tape put up, and that was enough to keep them out. But it was also a real nuisance because I had to climb through it to get in and out through that area, and it just obviously didn't look that nice either. So what we decided to do was build a fairly simple post and rail fence. We just used supplies that we already had in our pile of bits and pieces, and we put together a reasonably nice looking fence. The holes that we had to dig on the bricks, we actually did really carefully. We just dug out individual bricks and then hand dug the hole down so that we didn't ruin the rest of the beautiful brick path that my pa had laid down years and years ago. And then we used the post hole digger to dig the one that was actually just in the dirt. We decided that 2 rails was enough because pretty much all we wanted to do is to keep them from pushing in there, and we figured that that would actually be enough to deter them. And then we made quite a large gap that we were going to make a gate for. We thought we'd box it out and put the thing across and make a fairly traditional looking gate. But then Seb said, "Why are you doing that? Why don't you just do what you did for the dairy shed?" And that made so much more sense, and it actually has come up looking really nice. So what we've done is we've put little bits to hold planks across, and you can just slide it all the way up. So if it's open, you can have it slid all the way, and if it's closed, you can slide it all the way past. And it's really easy to use. It meant that we didn't have to get hinges, figure out how to latch and close a gate, and it actually won't put more pressure on the posts on either side, which means we're not going to have to concrete them or worry about them tipping because there's nothing that's sort of swinging one way or the other. So it's worked out really, really well. We need to do the same now on the other side of the shed where the water tanks are. We've got a temporary fence set up there as well. So we will do another post and rail along that side and probably include that little sliding system as well so that we have enough space to get in and out of the area where the pump and the tank is if we need to, but so that the animals can't get in to the tanks or to where we've got trees growing on that side of the shed. We had another theme night this week to entertain ourselves during lockdown. This time it was Bollywood. We dressed up, we bought Indian takeaways for dinner, put on some themed music while we ate, and then we watched a Bollywood movie, which was a lot of fun. You do what you do to keep yourself amused at the moment, and that was one thing that sort of broke up the week and was a nice way to sit together and do something a little bit different. I've been busy working on preparing stock for Christmas. I will be releasing a very limited number of mini skein sets that are from the past 5 years of colourways. The best way to make sure that you can get your hands on one of those, because they are going to be quite limited, is to sign up to my newsletter. By doing that, you will not only be the first to hear about anything new that's going on, but you will get 10% off your next order in my shop. So definitely worthwhile. The other thing that I've been doing is I've set up gift cards in my shop. So you can now go in and choose to buy a gift card. You can choose whichever amount you would like, and you will then be sent an e-version of that card that you can then send on to your family or friends or whoever you're going to give a yarny gift to. So if you're thinking about presents, especially in this lead up to Christmas where we're all really not able to get into shops, please check out my store and see what might take your fancy. Well, I finished the socks for Seb and he's already been wearing them. And I think he will be wearing them every day for the rest of the playoffs while he's watching the Boston games. And he really loves them. So I'm pleased that I was able to get those done quickly and that they fit and that he has already been wearing them. So after I finished those, I wanted something that was a bit easier. Not as small, not black yarn. So I wanted chunkier yarn and chunkier needles. I've been seeing this pattern called the Rio Kalina cowl, which is by Kat Bordy. And the reason that it has been so prominent in my social media and on Ravelry at the moment is because she just recently passed away from cancer, and this was the gift, her parting free pattern that she was giving to the knitting community. If you haven't heard of Kat Bordy, she was a knitter, designer, educator who had come up with some very different ways of explaining techniques and also some new techniques. And she had a YouTube channel and she wrote many patterns and was quite an inspiration to a lot of knitters. I had learnt a lot from her. I'd watched many of her videos and it seemed like a nice tribute to knit something from her right now. So I chose to knit it with a yarn that I got from Japan almost a year ago now. This time last year I was in Japan, but we hadn't bought the yarn yet. So I'm using this yarn here. This was an actual yarn that was only available in the shop that I went to, which is part of the reason why I bought it. I think it was quite special. And it is a chunky yarn and it's got little nips of blue and yellow in it. It's really beautiful. I'm not sure that I'm going to have enough to finish the entire cowl, so I've also wound up a ball of my hand spun which kind of matches in, and I'm going to sort of blend it once I get to the point where I'm starting to run out, and hopefully it looks okay. So this cowl pattern looks really, really complicated. I saw the pictures and I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be really hard. But it's super simple, and the reason is that there's no rhyme or reason to how you do these cables. So you start out with a couple of rows of just 2x2 rib, and then you do 4/4 cables, but you just choose where you put them. You only do the cables on one side, and you just do them when you feel like it. So everyone's is going to be slightly different. You can cross them to the front, you can cross them to the back, and it's going to make a different fabric. So I might be feeling like putting in a cable here next, and they cross and run across each other, and it's really effective, but you really don't have to think about it because you're not having to keep track of when you need to do the next cable. You just pop it in whenever you want. I've also been working on my granny stripe blanket. I haven't showed it in a little while, so here it is, and it's huge now. Ready? So I have only a few more colours left of my scraps that I haven't put in yet. So I'll get those in, and I have this much left of the contrast colour. So basically I'm going to try and make it until this colour runs out. So I might repeat some of the colours that I've already done, but try and do them in quite a different random order so it's not obvious that they're repeated. And then I'm going to use a different blue to border all the way around, which will hopefully tidy up this edge with all of my ends. And that will be one of my first ever crochet projects finished, which is quite exciting. Well, that's it for another week. Thanks for spending some time with me. If you're enjoying these videos, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and look forward to seeing you next week on the farm. Bye.